Hi everybody, my name is Lauren. This is my audience here. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about PTSD. If you guys don't know what that is, that's post-traumatic stress disorder. So if you guys can, once again, give me a few examples of what you know about who's affected by PTSD.
Rape victims. People involved in corrections.
Okay. So, actually, you guys have everything that's on my paper. So, all of you guys are correct. And there's also people that are not in these categories, but are also affected by PTSD. So, people of like terrorist attacks like 9/11, assaults, like you said, rape, car accidents, soldiers, war, things they've experienced. And so various websites like National Institute of Mental Health, Psychology Today, the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, they all agree that symptoms of PTSD are all about the same. So the symptoms of PTSD, let me just erase this. Are reliving So in reliving the event, what the person that has PTSD will do is they'll have flashbacks and bad dreams and things about the event that make them relive it. So that's one of them. Another one is avoidance. With avoidance, the person's going to avoid the places and things associated with the traumatic event. So any talking about it, they're not going to want to do. Any going to the places of the event, or even near it, maybe they won't want to go anywhere near it. They won't want to have anything to do with it, so that's avoiding. Arousal. Now, arousal is something that I didn't know, and you probably don't know that either. But arousal is when they're aroused, but like not in a sexual way, but they're just like heightened senses. So they'll be easily startled, they'll be stressed out, they'll sweat and shake and stuff like that. And there's also physical and emotional. Okay, so with physical and emotional symptoms of PTSD, the person will have like low self-esteem or bad self-image. They'll be kind of withdrawn, like depression, so they'll not want to do things that they usually did. They'll have severe headaches and like increased respiration and pulse and stuff like that. So like high blood pressure and everything. So yeah, these are the symptoms of PTSD. Any questions so far? No? People with PTSD can have they have a lot of options for treatment. So there's different kinds of therapy, there's medications, there's exercise, of course, is good for stress relief. So different kind of therapy. We'll start with therapy. So there's psychotherapy, psychotherapy is just talking. They'll go and they'll see a therapist and they'll just talk about it. They'll talk about their event and how their therapist will help them with ways of dealing with it and stuff. And then there is, yeah, so with psychotherapy, it can either be one-on-one with the therapist or within groups. So it doesn't have to be like one time, it can be for prolonged periods. So it's just up to the person. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay, so according to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, this has two parts. There's two types of CBT therapy. One being cognitive processing. And prolonged exposure. Okay, so cognitive behavioral therapy is the most effective form of therapy for people with PTSD. Cognitive behavioral therapy, the person with, cognitive processing. That's when the person with PTSD is taught how to, they're taught how to recognize how the trauma changed their feelings and their behaviors. So changes that happen to them, they're taught how to recognize it through this therapy. And according to the National Institute of Mental Health, the therapist will help them to realize that guilt and shame that they feel, that they have no responsibility or control over it, is not their fault. So, and they also teach them how to look at the situation realistically. So anything that's out of proportion will be brought back to a condensed, realistic level. And in exposure therapy, so prolonged exposure, the people with PTSD are given the chance to experience the event in, are given the chance to experience the event in a safe experience. So they're able to experience it little by little, to try to get over the feeling of being uncomfortable with it. So, they're able to express themselves and they're exposed to it in like writing, pictures, things like that. And then medication wise, so there's medications that people can take for this. And they're called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So these are also abbreviated as SSRIs. They're mostly like antidepressants, so things like Prozac and Celexa, things like that. Although the opinion on being used for PTSD is not agreed upon by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, just because Prozac does not specifically target the core effects and causes of PTSD. So that's the only reason why. SSRIs. Okay, so in conclusion, people that have PTSD, I noticed that soldiers in particular have a problem with admitting that they have it. So if you know somebody who may be suffering from PTSD or you suspect has it, let them know that if they admit to having it, that they're not weak. A lot of soldiers have this problem with thinking that they're weak if they need help. They're not. So leaving this untreated could lead to a lot of different things, like mental health wise, physically. People commit suicide over these things. So it's really, really serious that you guys know about this and know when to urge somebody to get help. And that's it. You have a question?
Yes.
Okay.
You sometimes have to deal
My
with.
question.
You sometimes have to deal with, mental health in the senior house.
Okay.
You know-
Mental
you know
health
what I
in
mean?
senior facilities?
Yeah, 'cause-
Well, yeah, of course.
yeah.
They probably take meds for that.
I think my mother's half black.
Anyway, so that's all for my speech. Okay, so this is a little bit of a summary over what we went through. Just key points. Reliving the event of trauma as a symptom, avoiding the place, arousal, being on edge and stressed out, emotional and physical, increased heart rate, respiration, sweating, headaches, and the different forms of therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy and the two types of cognitive processing with prolonged exposure.